perspective on this. Muralidhar Swaminathan, the channel director of BTV, is with us, and we are also being joined by risk management expert Ashwin Parekh on the phone line. Mr. Parekh, let me take the first question to you. How does this LEI code, or this 20-digit code that's been given, help in risk management as well as the monitoring of financial transactions?
Yeah, see, I mean, this is a very commendable move. Let us understand the backdrop in which, let's say, a new process or a new measure has been introduced. If you recall, there was this particular case about, the Supreme Court demanding complete exposures of various large corporates and a total rundown of NPA accounts. And at that point in time, the regulator had sought some time to collect all the data from the banking companies. Now, this is a move where, the exposure, the transactions, the complete behavior of large borrowers, borrowers exceeding this 1,000 crore kind of an exposure to the entire banking system, will really be monitored now straight by the RBI by virtue of this unification, the single code. So far what was happening was that if a borrower had 7 or 8 or 10 bank accounts, each bank would have a separate account number for such a borrower, and therefore aggregating that data across different offices of that bank and then across the banks in the economy was very complicated, was difficult.
Absolutely.
I suppose this is a really very commendable move, I must say.
Yeah, Ashwin, see this, it's kind of a unique ID code, something on the lines of Aadhaar. Just to update our viewers, see, in the first phase, it will be implemented for people, for borrowers who have exposure of more than 1,000 crore by the end of March this year, and subsequently by June, by the end of by 2019, almost all borrowers across all banks will be covered under this code. Now, my question to you is, apparently this code is also implemented in the OTC derivatives market. Will this also help, track financial transactions and to check fund diversion or fund utilization?
Completely. In fact, what happens normally is that, let's say, when a borrower has an exposure, now the exposure is against a specific line of credit. So a borrower may go and seek, let's say, some kind of a loan from a bank for a certain purpose, and he will announce that purpose. Now, much later, if the transaction behavior shows something else, then it does become very difficult to track, because the borrowers move their balances, their funds across banks, and then they manage, to use the funds for different activities other than the ones declared at the time when the loan was sought. So here what may happen is, this gives the regulator, a method in which it can clearly examine where the funds have really come from, where have they been utilized, any divergence of fund anywhere else can be tracked down. So, it's a very unique one. The difficulty across the banking system is a very small difficulty when compared to the benefits that this measure will really have to the system.
Right. How easy or difficult is it to implement this?
You see, we will have several things, that one may have to look at. Including some way in which, let's say, at the time of payment and settlements, where the kind of data fields which are available for any transaction, in addition to the amount and the payee and the payer, the bank, there one may have to look at how exactly this code will fit in. But that's a matter of detail. As a process, as a reform, it's a very commendable one. It's something that we wanted, a system all along.
Yeah. Apparently, I think the RBI has picked this up as part of a global network where globally all other regulators have also implemented this. How will this help track financial transactions across, overseas transactions also?
Yeah, so see, basically what seems to be happening is, with a lot of changes in the digital world, such measures are possible. If you ask someone a decade ago, or let's say 15 years ago, if you ask the banking system to collate this data and then to give it across to, let's say, to the regulator or to anybody, any organization which would collect this data at the central level, it was so difficult. I mean, to get this data across the branches of the bank itself was so difficult in the past. But we've moved away from that environment now. We've digitalized the whole thing. So, I mean, I would certainly say that both from global perspective and also more from the perspective, from the domestic control point of view, this measure does become very critical, I would say.
Right. Thanks for that, Ashwin. Good talking to you this morning. That is some perspective from Ashwin Parekh and, of course, about what's going on in that space. Well, moving the focus back to the markets, and we've slipped into negative territory once again. So we started the day off around levels of 10,450. Slipped now, 10,421 is what the Nifty trades at. I think at the